You guys clicked on today's video to get better at writing melodies. One of the basic fundamentals of just making samples in general. So like you guys read the title, I'm gonna be basically showing you guys tips and tricks that I wish I knew when I started. And if I were to restart, this is the exercises I would do. I'm going to create a whole melody from scratch using the tricks and tips that I want to show you guys to get better at melodies yourself. Okay, so for today's video, we're going to specify dark melodies. If you guys want soul, melodic, or any other type of melodies, let me know in the comment section down below. Making melodies is very simple. I always recommend starting with an idea and building on top. So I'm gonna start with my root note, which is going to be C. So I'm gonna do the most basic chords in the game, a C minor. Literally 3 notes. I'm literally gonna bring the second note down. So now we have a progression. Very, very simple. So I'm gonna show you how to build chords first and how to just build on top. The first thing I'm gonna do to add on top is take the exact same notes and just pitch them up and down in octaves. The reason why I'm gonna do this is because if you put an EQ on the master, you could see that this is really only covering like the mids right here. So that's why it sounds so plain. You still have so many lows and so many highs open. So that's what we're gonna do next. We're gonna add some low end literally by just copying these notes down an octave. You could copy it or you could just bring them down. I'm gonna do the same thing with these notes. I'm gonna copy them down except the D sharp and D. Bring this one up. Now it already sounds a lot darker and a lot more full. Go back to the EQ, you see there's a lot more bass in here. Now let's fill up some of those highs. One of the things I learned and I do in my melodies, and I see a bunch of other people do, is the high end is the most clear, and the high end is usually where people place their melody. So you have some nice chords here, but really no rhythm, no melody in it. So I'm gonna use the high end to just put a very, very basic melody. So this is the little melody. I'm gonna pitch that up an octave. Now still very, very simple, but now you have a melody in between those chords, kind of giving us some rhythm and having that little pattern that the listener could kind of follow with. And back to the EQ, now we have a lot more high end. Then again, I did choose a piano that's very, very muffled. So if I choose a more clean sounding piano, you can see now there's a lot more high mids in here. Now don't get me wrong, this still sounds very, very like a beginner type of melody. So now we're gonna go on to the next step, making your melodies a lot more unique and just spicing them up to sound a lot better. And that is not only adding new notes in between, but the placement of the notes. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna add any new notes. I'm gonna just mess around with the placement of the chords. So right there, we already have a more unique pattern with the chords. It's not just 2 chords hitting at the beginning of the beats. We move them around, create a little bit of rhythm. Next, I'm gonna add some notes in between, some filler notes to make it sound a lot more full. So here at the end, I hear like 2 chords playing. It's an idea I'm gonna try to lay down into the piano roll. And then after this chord, I wanted to transition into the next main chord, and literally all I'm gonna do is copy these chords over and just bring the bass notes, the root note, down 4. Now, even though what I just did works and I just changed the progression, I like the original idea more. You still kind of see how very quickly just changed the mood and the feeling of the melody just by changing the bass notes. But I want to go for a more dark, sinister type of sound. So I kind of just did this without thinking about it and explaining it, but I just added a second melody in the mid range. So we have our top melody right here, obviously. Right, that's the most catchy element. But in the middle, I added this little melody. And I like how that sounds because it complements the top melody very well. So what I want to do is specifically select this, shorten it, and I want it to repeat again for the second half. So now that sounds a lot darker, a lot more like evil, and all I did again was the bass notes, the root notes. It's a very easy way to change the mood and the feeling of your chord progression. Instead of down 4, I just brought it up 1. Now that is called, I always called it tension notes. I don't know if there's a specific term for it. Tension notes is basically when you have 2 notes right next to each other. So we have them right here in the melody, and we have them right here in the bass notes. You have it again right here. So I'm using these tension notes throughout the whole melody to capture feeling in your samples. So I like how that sounds. I'm going to just speed it up. So this melody is pretty much done. I like it and I'm satisfied with how it's sounding. Now I am using a piano VST. It's obviously not a real classic piano that I'm playing. So to help give it that realistic sound, when you're playing the keys, you're not hitting it hard every time. You know, there's obviously velocity. Every note is going to be at different volumes. So I'm literally just I'm going to do Shift C and then do Alt R, and this is going to randomize the velocity. I like that. It sounds a lot more mellow, realistic. Now I'm gonna go in manually and highlight the notes that I want to stand out. So I want these last 2 chords to be more aggressive. So I'm gonna raise them, and then I want the top notes to be more aggressive. And the last thing to make it sound more realistic is Alt S to strum them. And there you have it. That's pretty much the whole melody done. So that's pretty much it for basically the foundations and the tips and tricks I use making melodies that I did not know in the beginning. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys did enjoy and learn something new from this video. Make sure you like and subscribe. It's important you subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next video.